Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing our Game Week 9 team selection video because it is almost time for Game Week 9. It feels like it's been for absolutely forever, but we're almost there, guys. Just a little bit more patience, we can get there. So if you're excited, guys, please do leave a like, please do subscribe if you're new around here. We're going to show our scores from last week, we're going to do our team selection, our captaincy, our transfer, everything today. Let's get on with it. If you're looking for the top selection for web safety and anonymity this game week, then how about today's video sponsor, Surfshark, a VPN service that keeps your identity safe online. It's basically like installing a Nick Pope to your PC or mobile phone. But not only this, Surfshark allows you to browse the internet as if you were in a different country. If you don't have access to certain football channels and networks in your country, no problem. Set your location to somewhere else using Surfshark and you can now access it. Maybe you want to watch Match of the Day or Sky Go from on vacation and it's not working, or you're getting this annoying, this content is unavailable in your country message. You can switch up your country to somewhere else. But here's my favorite feature. If you've watched everything on Netflix and want to unlock all the content on USA Netflix, for example, you can easily do so. You can switch your countries faster than you can switch Alexander Isak out of your FPL team. RIP the injured man. Protect your identity, be safe online, and access web content around the world wherever you are. And you can now get 83% off and 3 extra months for free. Just use promo code FPLMate, all one word, to get this offer, or you can simply click the link in my description. It really helps support the channel and you get a great service for a heavily discounted price in return. And if you somehow don't like it, there's also a 30-day money back guarantee. So everybody wins. Okay, so first of all, on Game Week 8 scores, I know it feels like Game Week 8 was so long ago, but we still do need to have a look at these scores. It went pretty well. Obviously, I played my wild card in Game Week 8, and in general, I was pretty happy with the result. We obviously didn't get hits from every single player, but we did have to play a couple of those cheaper players just because that Zaha and Reece James on the bench ready for Game Week 9 and beyond, I suppose. But yeah, in general, I'm pretty happy. A couple of the differentials worked. I went for Tyrone Mings as a super differential in defense. He got 9 points. Maddison was a really nice differential at the time as well. Not too many people were talking about him in Game Week 8. Obviously, he's on everyone's lips now, but yeah, it was nice to get him 1 game week early as well in Game Week 8. 7 points, perhaps unlucky not to get a few more points than that. And we did end up going for the differential captain. I decided to back Harry Kane against his favourite opposition in the entire world, Leicester City, who did end up beating Haaland's score of 6. But again, Harry Kane could have got a little bit more in that match, but you can say that about any player in any game pretty much. Some slight disappointments. Mitrovic, we hope that he get a little bit more out of that game. His team scores 3 goals, he gets 0. That's kind of rare, so disappointing, but maybe he can get something in future games. Obviously, we've got no Newcastle clean sheet, but Trippier did get a penalty assist. And Bowen, maybe he could have done a little bit better as well in that game against Everton, but I think he did show some positive signs. Maybe not enough to justify his 8 million price tag, though. Okay, time to select my Game Week 9 team, and although the first part of the season has not gone so well for me, I do feel like since playing the wild card, we are going to reinvigorate this season and hopefully end up with a really nice finish by the end of the season. I'm pretty confident in that. It's a good start. So let's start off in goal for this week. We're going to go for Nick Pope again against Fulham. Am I super confident about a clean sheet in this one? No, not necessarily, but I do think there will be plenty of save points available. We know Fulham like to shoot a lot. You know, there's certain players in that Fulham team that like to shoot from distance, so hopefully that is going to be, you know, feeding into that Nick Pope save points, building, maybe even get a bonus point out of it as well if all goes well. So yeah, I think he's going to be pretty good for this game week, but certainly this is not my favourite game week for him. That Brentford game, that Everton game coming up, I do prefer Nick Pope for, but for now, he is a decent goalkeeper who will get save points at least. Into defence, we've got Cancelo. He's playing against Manchester United at home. Really not sure how this game is going to go, to be honest, because Manchester United have shown a little bit of form. Like, they seem like they're getting a little bit better, getting there slowly, which is very good if you're a Manchester United fan. The difficulty is how are Man City going to fare against them? We know Man City have had the occasional minor slip-up this season, but in general, Man City have been absolutely brilliant. Cancelo in particular has been a really good FPL option, bringing in those clean sheets and those bonus points as well. But are we going to get a clean sheet from this Manchester United game? Do we trust that Cancelo can get an attacking return? I mean, it's definitely possible, but it's far from a certainty, I suppose. Are we thinking that Manchester United could maybe launch a counter-attack against Cancelo and actually, you know, Man City end up conceding? I think it's possible. possible. But I guess let's see. Man City are a brilliant, brilliant football team, and you know, you kind of have to back them to get clean sheets and to get goals in against any opposition they face. So we have to stay strong with Cancelo. I think he can do well. It's just a case of whether he will. Now, Reece James, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more confident in, because the Crystal Palace have not shown amazing form in front of goal. So I do think there's opportunities for clean sheets. We know Reece James is going to be playing as a right wing back now, and under Potterbull, I hope that Reece James is going to become that new man. I've spoken about this a little bit before, but I am excited about Reece James. Obviously, there's been no Reece James under Potter in the Premier League so far. We know what Potter did with his right wing backs at Brighton. They were amazing, really far up the pitch. You know, think Tariq Lamptey, think Solly March, and now think Reece James occupying those same sort of roles, those same sort of positions. I think it's going to go really, really well. So I'm hoping for attacking returns in the upcoming game weeks for Reece James, and I'm kind of excited by that as well. And we'll finish off the defence with Trippier, who plays against Fulham. Again, not super confident about a clean sheet, but Trippier is pretty good for, you know, getting up the pitch, playing those passes, maybe taking the odd shots on, you know, getting in the box. It's really good to see him playing in those nice advanced positions, and maybe even get a free kick goal or something like that as well. So for those reasons, I'm still pretty happy with Trippier. I'm not like super confident. I'm not as excited about Trippier as a lot of other people seem to be. There are other defenders that do excite me a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have Trippier in my team, but for me, Trippier seems like, just standard defender to fill out the squad, rather than, wow, this guy is amazing. But look, maybe that's just me. Let's move on into midfield. We've got Jarrod Bowen. So like I said, last game week, in general, West Ham were disappointing again. It seems to be a recurring theme here. The West Ham are just not getting there. But Bowen did show some signs and did probably look like the player most likely to get an attacking return in that game against Everton. So I do think there is something to be said about that. This game against Wolves on paper is very difficult, but you have to remember that last game week, Nathan Collins actually got sent off, and he's been the star centre-back for Wolves so far this season. And Wolves don't actually have too many centre-backs at the club, you know, with the sales that they've made. So I wonder if this actually could be the most fragile the Wolves defence has been all season, and whether Jarrod Bowen, you know, playing in those really advanced positions at home, maybe this is going to be that opportunity for West Ham. Maybe this international break has been exactly what West Ham have needed, perhaps, and maybe Bowen can reward those who have kind of taken a punt on a little bit of a differential. But if not, we have got Fulham and Southampton back-to-back next, and if Bowen is not scoring in those games, then he's probably a complete write-off entirely. You know, I'm probably going to transfer out Bowen, probably, you know, for that Liverpool game. I'm thinking maybe Bowen to Luis Diaz, perhaps. So actually, I would actually be sacrificing Bowen for a player who's going to be playing against Bowen, but that won't happen for 3 game weeks. So for these next 3 game weeks, I'm really, really hoping that Bowen is going to do the business for me, because he is a differential, and when he scores points, it's going to make a big difference to me. Same thing with Maddison. Still pretty low ownership. He's at 6.9% ownership at time of recording, which is pretty low. I know a lot of people in the community are excited about him, but in the overall FPL space, I would say that not too many people are really thinking about Maddison very much at all. They don't have enough trust in Leicester, because they kind of think Leicester, bad team, all of their players must be bad. But we've kind of seen with Maddison so far this season, I think he's got, 4 returns in 7 games already, which is pretty good. He's been playing, you know, some scintillating football as well. And he's got back-to-back games against Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. The first one is Nottingham Forest at home, which we really do feel like could be a really decent result for him. So for that reason, I'm really hoping that Maddison is going to be one of those players that pops off this game week. So much so that I'm even considering captaining him, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video in just a few minutes time. But Maddison, I think he's going to be really good. Like, I'm really impressed with him at the moment. I think he's playing in some really nice attacking areas. I think he's making some really nice passes. I think his movement looks really good at the moment. I think he is going to punish some of the weaker teams in this Premier League season. And I do feel like Leicester are going to need to pick up points, and I think the points are going to come through Maddison. I think that's going to be what's going to happen over the next couple of game weeks, and Leicester are going to do what they inevitably do, and they score enough goals to survive the fact that they concede a lot of goals as well. On to Zaha. I don't know how confident I am with Zaha this game week, to be honest, but I'm going to start him anyway. But I have to admit, do I think he's going to score against Chelsea? I'm not sure. I mean, he's coming back. He's returning. I feel like he's had a very good season when he's played so far. What is it going to take for him to get some FPL points? You know, obviously he's on penalties, but I think he's a lot more than just penalties as well. The problem is this Crystal Palace team don't look too exciting going forward, and Zaha is really the star of the show, which is a good thing in a way, which means basically if Crystal Palace are scoring goals, you kind of know it's going to be Zaha. You know Zaha potentially gets bonus points as well, but typically Zaha is not a player who gets bonus points. He's usually a fairly low scorer on the bonus points. So let's see what happens here. I didn't buy Zaha for this Chelsea game. I bought him for the fixtures after the Chelsea game, if I'm honest. I want him for that Leicester game. I want him for that Leeds game as well. This Chelsea game is kind of like, let's see what he can do. But don't get me wrong, Chelsea have conceded a few goals so far this season. I don't think this is a super difficult fixture by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't know. I don't know who I should feel more confident in. Should I feel more confident in Chelsea right now or Crystal Palace? Because I don't think either team is in amazing form right now. So I guess it is one I'm very excited about to see what happens. But am I confident in Zaha this week? The answer is no. Finally, we've got Martinelli, who's got a game against Spurs. A lot of people actually advocating for selling Martinelli. I don't think that's something that I'd like to be doing personally, just because Martinelli is just the best player for his price. And that's been the case for a while now, hasn't it, really? He's just the best player for his price, and I don't really know who I would get in aside from Martinelli. I don't have anything in the bank, so, otherwise, maybe I'd consider, like, Martinelli to Harvey Barnes. If, obviously, I didn't have Maddison, maybe I could be considering Martinelli to Maddison and try and do that somehow, but obviously, I already have Maddison. So, for me, Martinelli is a player who, although he has difficult fixtures, I still think that he is very, very possible that he scores in this game. Arsenal have been in very good form, and he's been in very good individual form. I don't see why Arsenal can't, get some goals in the next two games, even though they are difficult games on paper. They are both home games. They're going to be the real test. But I have confidence. As an Arsenal fan, I have confidence that Arsenal can get some results here. I'm not saying we're going to batter anyone. I'm not saying that we're even going to win both of these games, but, a win and a loss, or a win and a draw, or two draws, I think all of those would be considered fairly positive results. And I think all of those scenarios involve a Martinelli return over the next two. And after that, he's got Leeds anyway, and we can look to sell him in game week 12, can't we? But for now, he's still in the team. Up front, guys, we've got Erling Haaland going to be matching up against Lisandro Martinez. I don't know how that's going to go. Let's see, I guess. But, Haaland is still in that phenomenal form. He still seems to be scoring every single game. Without a doubt, he's inevitable. He's a robot. He's incredible. So let's see if he can do it again, continue to do it. His ownership is just rising and rising. Could he be the most owned FPL player in history? He's got just a little bit while longer to beat Jesus' record that he set earlier on in the season, but he's certainly leading the way. He's certainly looking like he can go up and up and up, doesn't he? So, yeah. Manchester United game, I think it's just another one of those games where you have to continue to have that confidence in Haaland. And then after that, Southampton, very exciting. We're all going to be captaining Haaland against Southampton, I'm sure. And then after that, Liverpool and the blank. We'll get there when we get there, but for now, there's no way you can't own Haaland. Like, I understand this by now, but we have also got Harry Kane, because I still do feel like Harry Kane is an absolute beast. And although I'm not super convinced by these fixtures on paper, if this was like, I don't know, a Martinelli or a Zaha or a Maddison or a Bowen or one of my midfielders had this run of fixtures, I'd probably be looking at selling them. I definitely would not be looking at buying them, but because it's Harry Kane, you do get something slightly different. Harry Kane does have his preferred opponents. We spoke about Leicester, that he always scores against Leicester. His second and third favourite opponents, I believe, are Arsenal and Everton. So that's kind of a good thing, I guess, if you're a Harry Kane owner. It's not very good if you're an Arsenal fan, but I do think Harry Kane has got a very good chance of scoring against Arsenal, because he just kind of always seems to do it. It's just what he does. He scores against Arsenal. He scores in these big derby games. And Everton is a good fixture for him as well. Brighton is, I don't really know what Brighton are going to be like, to be honest, now that they've got the new manager. I have no idea. I'm excited to find out, as I'm sure you guys are. But Arsenal, Kane, he likes the game. That wasn't meant to rhyme, but apparently it did. And let's finish off with Mitrovic, who I think is going to be the man to cause Newcastle problems. I know I said earlier that I'm not convinced about a Newcastle clean sheet. It's because of this guy. Another hat-trick and another goal. How many goals did he score over the international break? 4? Crazy. He's in insane form. Don't let that last game week put you off. Don't let the fact that he got a little knock in the international break put you off, because he played the next game anyway. He's absolutely fine. He's definitely going to play against Newcastle. And the form that he is showing in the Premier League, in the Championship last season, in the internationals, he is on goal-scoring form right now. Do not let the blank last week put you off. That is just a blip. That is an anomaly. It is going to go away, and he's going to come back, and he's going to score a hell of a lot of goals over the next few game weeks. Let me tell you that. Very exciting time to own Mitrovic, and anyone who doesn't own, I would honestly say that Mitrovic is one of the most essential players to own in FPL right now. So I personally am very, very excited to own him for another game week. Let's see if he can beat his score from last game week. I think he can. On to the bench, guys. We've got Iverson. Not going to play him. He can just stay on the bench. Tyrone Mings, we're going to bench him for this game week, I think. Leeds away. I do feel like Leeds, particularly in an away game, Leeds are capable of scoring a goal or two. So I do think Mings is one for the bench this week. I would consider playing him, but I think I'm gonna bench him. Andreas is just the bench option. Maddison unfortunately has an injury that's going to put him out for a little while. Unfortunately, he's going to be out for almost a month, I think. So unfortunate, but, you know, I'm not going to sell Maddison. I still think he's a very good player, and when he returns to Premier League action, I think he's been so good. I think he'll keep his. He's definitely going to keep his place when he returns. And yeah, I'm excited about Maddison, to be honest. I genuinely am, and I don't think Everton have been quite as bad defensively as you know, people perhaps make them out to be. So I'm excited about that. Right, finally, guys, let's talk about transfers and captaincy. So I have to tell you guys, I'm not going to make a transfer this week. I know that's really boring. I know you probably wanted me to make some kind of exciting transfer. The players that I kind of like the look of to buy at the moment are kind of maybe Harvey Barnes or Tony. Those are the only two players I'd really consider buying right now, I think. Unless I went for someone a little bit more left field, which I could do, but I don't think I will. But I kind of like my team, and I kind of like the idea of trying to roll at least one transfer. So when we go into game week 12, I have that transfer in reserve. So that's kind of where I want to make sure I have a free transfer ready for then. So if I can save the transfer now, it means every week from now I can keep making my transfers. I can, you know, make the right moves. I can take out the players that I want to take out of my team later on. So yeah, I think that's the plan here, guys. We're going to try and save transfers for that tricky blank game week, because I've got Cancelo, Martinelli and Haaland all blanking in that game week, and I've got Bowen, who I want to transfer out in that game week as well. So let's see. Let's see what happens at that point. But for now, let's roll the transfer. Let's try and prepare. And in terms of captaincy, I'm going to tell you, for the sake of this video, I'm going to put Haaland captain, and I'm going to put Maddison vice captain. The reason I'm going for Haaland captain is because I think he'll be a little bit more differential than usual this week. I think a lot of people will be going for the likes of Maddison, going for the likes of Salah, going for some other various players. A lot of people don't want to captain Haaland against Manchester United for various reasons, whether that's club loyalty or whether that's because, you know, they really rate Manchester United as a side, or, you know, they think Harry Maguire is going to dominate Haaland. I don't know. But I do feel like it's a little bit of a differential. It's not boring to me, or it's certainly less boring of a captaincy than it has been in previous weeks. And I do feel like Haaland is just so good that he will get these kind of really good results against a team like Manchester United. Once the goals start going in, they'll just keep flowing, won't they? You kind of get that impression. But don't get me wrong, I am tempted by Maddison, who's got the vice captain's armband today. I'm really tempted to go for Maddison. So I don't want to make an 100% guarantee that I'm going to go for Haaland, but the captain's armband for me right now is on Haaland. I'm more likely to go for Haaland, but there is a good chance that I go for Maddison as well, as that bit of a cheeky differential. You know, Maddison gets more points for his contributions. He's playing against a much weaker opponent, and I feel like Maddison is in that really nice form where he is going to get those real mega hauls, which he goes through these streaks of getting these mega hauls, and I wonder if it's an opportunity to take a punt, take a risk, and kind of see if that happens. You know, my rank right now is not super high. You know, we are moving in the right direction, don't get me wrong, but it's not super high. Could I kind of cut some corners by taking a real big risk? If it paid off, it would be huge, wouldn't it? So thinking about it, probably not going to do it, but there is a chance. And of course, guys, I will let you know on the deadline stream. I'll let you know at the end of the deadline stream before we head off after that. That'll be on, obviously, Saturday morning. So I hope to see a few of you guys there on the deadline stream as well. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like. Really does help out the channel so much. And do subscribe if you're new around here as well. Don't forget to check out Fantasy Football Hub, who are still offering a nice discount on their services at the moment. Even if you want to just go check out their free stuff and their trial stuff, I really do thoroughly recommend it. They just have the tools that just genuinely help you out with your fantasy team. Don't forget to check out Surfshark as well. That link is in the description as well. Don't forget to check out my Twitch. How many things have I got to shout out? I've got so many things to shout out. Why don't you go follow my Twitter, my Instagram, my Snapchat, my TikTok, and follow my mum's Twitter as well if you want. I don't know. But there we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for our wild card draft video, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.